Hello and welcome to an Endless Celts podcast. After the first game of the season against Kilmarnock yesterday, it was a comfortable 4-0 win. Guys, Franny, we'll start with you. How are you doing? How are you feeling after that game?
I'm all good. Back living the hotel life.
I'm up
in Fraser, but back down the road tomorrow. So all nice.
Good stuff. Did you manage to see the game yesterday?
I did. I was in the house for the game, so I managed to see the game.
Excellent. And Jed, welcome back to the Monday Club. I feel like it's been a while since I've last seen you. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Yeah, fine. I mean, missed the game yesterday. I wasn't feeling too good, but at least I got to see it in the TV. But just gutted not actually being there. But like I said, I got to see the Dundee derby as well, so I enjoyed myself watching a bit of football yesterday. The real football's back now. None of this Euro nonsense. It's good getting back to the real stuff.
That's it, yeah. It's been an interesting summer with the Euros and now obviously the Olympics. Everybody's had the holidays. I know a few of us from the Endless Celts have been away in the last 2-3 weeks as well.
4 weeks.
But 4 weeks, you still not been yet?
No, still not been.
We're just going to get started, get to that not winter break, get to that first international break, and you're going to be off in your jolly bags. That's actually a good timing, Jed. No bad timing.
Yeah.
So yesterday, to dive right into it as quick as you can, it was a 4-0 win, Flag Day. I think most people were upbeat and cheerful for the day ahead, and I think it's safe to say, guys, that it was a comfortable win. For me personally, I'll get a summarization of both of these in a second, but for me personally, I think that's one of the best ways to start a new season. Obviously, clean sheet, 4 goals, dominant performance. I think the possession was about 82% or something like that. Ridiculous. Plenty of shots, plenty of opportunities. I don't think many, if anybody, put a foot wrong at any point during the game. I think, although I would like to see more tempo, more urgency overall, I think as a welcome back to Celtic Park, first game of the season, that is one of the best ways you could ever start a season at Celtic Park. Franny, a summarization of the game, if you would.
I just very similar to what you said. I think everybody to a man had pass marks. Obviously, we have been talking recently about pre-season, how much you can't read that, but it's good to see the players being sort of at a good level and being sharp and stuff, and it was nice to see them carry that on to the first game of the season. I think Kilmarnock were pretty poor. They didn't make much of a contest of it. They didn't make much of a football game yet. But equally, you've got to credit Celtic for putting them in that position. I thought just for minute one, we just pushed them back, and guys like Liam Scales and Carter Vickers were pretty much playing in the Kilmarnock.
I think we're going to struggle with Franny tonight on the old hotel Wi-Fi systems here.
All
Jed, whilst Franny tries to gurgle his way through, I'm assuming the lag is happening on everybody's side. Jed, take us through yesterday for yourself. How did you feel? How did you think the game went?
Yeah, well, to stick up for Franny, I mean, he is up in Fraser, but I mean, that's, you need to go back in time when you're up there. I'm up there in Wednesday myself, so it's a lot, the place that time forgot, so it is. But yeah, I thought yesterday, as you said, Anthony, we couldn't ask for a better start, and you hit the nail on the head as well when you said 82%, and Sky said after the game that no team last season had that higher possession in any game. It was phenomenal. I mean, if you look at our midfield, in particular, O'Reilly and Hatate, I think they covered every blade of grass. They were going back in their own half to get the ball, just there to help out and take the ball and build the attack fast all the time. Really, really good display. And speaking to a couple of the Blue Noses in my work today, they're a wee bit concerned already because they think, they said to me that they seen they couldn't cope with Celtic now at the pace, the way they're moving the ball, they just keep all out attack, which has been brilliant. But listen, we've got a long way to go. But we can touch on that later.
I think it's a very telling thing. I'll put this into the chat just now. I saw somebody already mentioned it as well. When Paddy Power are paying out on Celtic to win the league after day one, I think that's pretty telling. So your blue nose makes it your work. I think the fear that they've got and the panic that they've got is probably felt kind of widespread with their support, and the wider football community probably looking beyond and thinking, what chance have they got this season? When we start this way, I mean, we don't often start with a bang. Sometimes it's you're waiting to see something build over 2-3 games. You're waiting for the players to come in, which we're still doing this transfer window. So we're still waiting for players to come in, hopefully, to build on the squad that we have. But I think the key thing for us is that we still have the squad of last season, minus Ida at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
But in essence, the midfield trio is exactly what we wanted to see for the majority of last season, but never did really for large spells. You've got your Carter Vickers, even Scales looks like he's kind of staying at the level that he was last year, which is an admirable and a very good level that he's got. Just to run quickly through the goals very, very quick. I'm not going to put anybody on the spot too much, but Hatate got the first goal on the 17th minute. A bit of a kind of Matt O'Reilly kind of shot. If you ask me, at first I had to double check who took the shot, but I think it's Greg Taylor kind of laid it into him on the edge of the 18-yard box, right foot, keeps it low and into the bottom corners to keep it away from the keeper. Scales brings in the second on the 40th minute with a lovely jumping header, directs that onto the far post beautifully. Then you've got Kuhn, who gets the third goal in the 59th minute, I think it was. I believe he tried this already earlier on when I think it was Kyogo pinged the ball along to him. No, McGregor, I think it was, pinged the ball wide to him, and he burst forward with not a great amount of speed, obviously, but into a great area, and was able to get the legs on the Killie defender. And he done everything right apart from the final product at that stage, but it was almost like building up to what his goal was going to be, which was again coming in from the right side, cutting in onto the middle of the park and getting his shot off, which takes a massive deflection. I believe it would be on target anyway, so he gets the goal accredited him, but everybody takes that bit of luck, but he was all over the place in that right wing doing everything. And then to tidy it up in the last couple of minutes was Anthony Ralston, 4 minutes into injury time. I think it was Kyogo took the shot on the edge of the box, but there was like 3 of them in that kind of classic Ange way. And you're talking the 94th minute, 3-0 up at this stage. Kyogo's taking the shot and 3 of them are falling up for the scraps, whereas Tony Ralston on the right gets it and just all the power in the world just to take it across the face of goal and into the far corner as well. I think on the whole, the goals showed decent creativity, good eye for the goal. Every player was looking hungry and looking to get forward. Franny, if you're back with us, hopefully a bit less buffering.
I've turned the Wi-Fi off, so hopefully the 5G will be there.
Excellent. How were you for the goals? Do you have one that was a favourite? Do you want to pick one out that you enjoyed the most?
I would probably say I enjoyed Kuhn's the most. Obviously, Hatate's was good because we pressed him high to win the ball back quick, and obviously Greg Taylor end up winning it back and laying it on to Hatate, and he just maybe it wasn't his best shot, but I managed to sneak in, and like he's touched on, scoring for a corner. It's a rarity with Celtic, so it was nice to see that as well. But for me, I thought Kuhn's was good. It was a good kind of counter-attacking move. Obviously, Killie were maybe a wee bit knackered for playing midweek, and obviously thinking with the game coming up this midweek that I don't think they had necessarily the strongest team out, and I think they had a young lad out at the left side, so I think he was Kuhn managed to expose him. It's good to see Kuhn carrying on his pre-season form. I mean, I was one of the guys that after a couple of games last season had said he'll never make it Celtic, so maybe it has got to be that quality that Brendan Rodgers is looking for, that the buzzword of the day anyway. But I thought he'd take it well, just run, cut inside. His shot takes a deflection, but I think the move deserved a goal. And then, like I said, Ralston's one. So that's a tidy finish for a quite tight angle, but I quite like Kyogo's movement for it. He just dropped the shoulders just at the edge of the box and got his shot away. And like I said, Tony Ralston, not long on the park, but just obviously got that freedom to get up the park and is in the right place at the right time and gets rewards for it. But for me, just Kuhn's directness, because I think he's one that's got a bit to prove. Just where I think he'll admit it himself. He never had a great start to his Celtic career last season, as I just touched on myself, amongst probably others. Had written him off and never gave him a future at Celtic, and he's had a great pre-season, and hopefully kicks on this season and it proves to be a top player.
I think Kuhn's got that in him. I was one of the most vocal critics of Kuhn when he first came in. To be fair, it was more picking up on what Roger was saying. That word is you highlighted, Franny, the quality that was needed. I still don't believe Kuhn was signed as the quality that we needed. For me, he's definitely no better than James Forrest, especially last year. And he didn't give us that step up wow factor, that kind of, not experience as such, but an extra level, the way that Jota would come in. And you could instantly see that was an improvement in the wings and the quality. I was hoping and expecting for that, and I still am this season, transfer-wise, for other players coming. But that's in the past. Kuhn is here for, 8 months now? And he deserves a fresh start as such, when we all know that he's had his weight issues when he first came in, a bit of injury during the season as well. And as you say, Franny, he's had his pre-season, a very good one by the looks of it so far, and he started this game like a right winger that deserves his starting place at Celtic, to be honest. He's quite electric, I think. He reminds me of a kind of Paddy Roberts kind of style a little bit, without being too flamboyant. Hopefully a bit more direct like James Forrest is. But for me, he started well with the pre-season and yesterday's game. And for him as a player, he deserves the spot in the team and his place. Jed, yourself, with the goals, anything that you thought stood out, anything that you liked about the goals?
Yeah, a couple of goals. The first goal, if you look, O'Reilly actually right pressing the guy in his own box, made the mistake. Taylor gets the ball and passes it to Atati and he finishes it. But what about the pass from Kyogo for Kuhn's the third goal? Absolutely tremendous. I thought Kyogo looked really sharp. Chris Sutton also mentioned it in his commentary. The goal that he scored got chopped off for offside. I mean, he brought that down absolutely brilliant and then finished it. So I think things are looking good. The goals were shared between the four players. I thought Forrest had a really good game. And Kuhn's just carrying on from the pre-season, what he had out in America. The games, he's certainly looking the part. And it's amazing what a wee bit of confidence does. So we just need to hope that carries on. But yeah, everybody got pass marks yesterday. Kasper Michael looked great with the ball. He doesn't panic. I think I've said in the chat as well that I do believe that that's actually a step up in Joe Hart. You know, Kasper Schmeichel's an absolutely fantastic keeper, and I think we're fortunate to get him. Yeah, I know it's only going to be for a season, whether an option another one, but I think he's going to be as good in the dressing room as what Joe Hart was. You know, with the younger players, his experience playing. You know, he's still a Danish international. I believe he's a captain as well.
I think so.
For Denmark. So that can only be good. But I mean, let's be honest. But I did say in their chat last night, I did predict 4-0. I actually said to my daughter before she went to the game, I fancied 4-0. So delighted. Roll on Sunday at Easter Road. Unless there's any new signings in this week, which we hope, I think it's going to be the same start 11, isn't it? For next week, because they all deserved it. But we do need players in, guys. We need players in big time. Because if Kyogo gets injured, we are snooker. We really are snooker.
Chris, fine. We've got Mikey Johnson. I say in jest. No, we're definitely lacking in some real quality. As great as the game was yesterday night, and I fully agree, Jed, that everybody gets pass marks. Even your Greg Taylor and your Liam Scales, I think both of them were very good. Taylor obviously helped set up first goal. Scales gets his goal. He's also had a good shot. Weirdly, he was on the right side of the box when he took a shot that rebounded back out. He's getting all over the place. He's looking to get involved in the game. He's always looking to carry the ball out of defence. So credit where it's due for guys like Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. Both had good games. Casper Schmeichel, I agree as well. As much as he didn't have much to do, he still, at every opportunity, looked comfortable, relaxed. And for me, when it comes to the keeper situation, I'll hold judgment if it's an upgrade yet or not, but it definitely looks like a continuation. Over the years with Joe Hart, I had shaken that constant fear of your goalkeeper going to drop a clanger. And that fear whenever somebody would break through, you'd always end up like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. There's going to be a counter-attack. But Joe Hart brings that confidence back into the team and the fans. And I think Casper so far, I'll wait to see if he's an improvement overall, but so far it looks like a continuation of that. There's just confidence.
Can I ask something, because I can't see the comments coming up. Can I ask everybody that's watching, do they believe Casper Schmeichel will be an upgrade than Joe Hart? I mean, I know it's very early to say.
I'm with you, Jed. I think it will be.
I could be wrong here, but I was delighted when I heard we were signing him. I thought we should have went after him a couple of seasons ago anyway. So,
I think it's
other people think.
As hard as I am on the club and the board, especially, I think that's a cracking piece of business. The two goalkeepers that have came in.
Yes.
I need to see so much more of the younger lad. I'll not pretend that I watched League One football last season at all. Was it Exeter? He was at. Let's not pretend we all watched that. But the hype about him as a keeper, up and coming youngster, everything's there to get him in for £1 million and Casper to continue off from Joe Hart left off. I think that's the most correct thing that the club's done as far as transfers is concerned for a very long time, which is.
By the way, I wonder as well, with that keeper coming in from, I mean, he was on loan at Exeter, Jack Aitchison. That was a very good friend of, I can't even pronounce the boy's name, so I'm not even going to try and do it. So I wonder if Jack's had a wee chat with him to say, look, I think you'd be crazy not to go up there. So let's hope he did, because Jack's still down there doing well himself, and he's the youngest goal scorer in the club's history. So it'll been, I'm no doubt the boy probably spoke to him about it.
Very likely. When you think of Brendan Rodgers would have talked obviously to Casper about coming up because they've worked together, and you think Casper and Matt O'Reilly, they're both in the Danish squad. Okay, I don't think they've probably played too much together, if anything, but they'll have talked to each other and they'll be in communication. So this could all be good swings and roundabouts that helps everybody at the club, and people, it all works in its benefit. I'll try not to focus on the connections too heavy. I'll give Anthony done a bit of peace about the choice words of that one. But as far as back to the game, I'm going to pick up something that I just saw earlier. I believe Rio Hatate got man of the match officially on my little foot mob thing. Not that many people can see it. Liam Scales actually gets the player of the match there, which I wouldn't disagree with. But then I'm thinking Kuhn probably deserved man of the match. So to each of you, and we'll start with Franny, who would have been your man of the match and why, if it wasn't the obvious?
I think I would have. I think I heard Rio Hatate get it with the Tannoy as well, maybe at Celtic Park as well, and I'd probably give it. For me, it was a toss-up between him and O'Reilly. For me, Kyogo maybe harshly not getting it because, like Jed touched on, I thought Kyogo was brilliant. He was dropping into nice wee pockets, his touches, his layoffs. He actually had one in the first half where he laid it round to O'Reilly, and O'Reilly played it back into him, and he just nothing came out. But it was a couple of nice wee 1-2 and stuff. But it was just Rio Hatate, but it was just more. Again, another guy that's had a good pre-season, and I think Rodgers might take his game to a different level. We all know how good Rio Hatate could be. Injuries played a big factor in them not performing so well last season. Obviously, was not a regular feature at the start. David Turnbull was fancied more than Rio Hatate when Rodgers first came in, and it felt like Rodgers and Hatate, not saying they never got on, but it was Rodgers was digging Hatate out a bit, just saying he needs to do a wee bit more and stuff. And I think there was maybe talking going to Brighton and things like that at the time. who's kind of a club that seems to want to buy your players, it would seem, with the late Matt O'Reilly rumours. But I'm excited to. For me, Rui Hatate would have been man of the match. It was just the Rui Hatate we know, always doing something, always trying that difficult pass. There was times it wasn't coming off yesterday, and I think that will happen. I just think he needs to sharpen that up a wee bit and just to really try and take his game to that next level, because that's what kind of we need. You need that sometimes when you're playing against the sort of low blocks that we'll come up against home and away this season domestically. There's a guy that is willing to play that difficult pass that might not come off, and it'll not put him off. He'll try it again and again, but it's just sometimes with Hatate, it's a wee bit lazy and a wee bit lackadaisical. So if you can just tighten that up, because even taking the ball in the half turn sometimes and just taking 2 or 3 guys at the game, he's brilliant at it. But for me, I think it's fair to argue for Liam Scales, Hatate, O'Reilly, Kuhn, Kyogo. There's a few names you could chuck out there for man of the match, but for me it would have been Rui Hatate.
For yourself, Jed, do you agree with the match day?
What Franny said. I mean, they were all decent. I thought Alistair Johnson had a good game. He's not really been involved in the pre-season with us, but I thought he had a good game. I thought Forrest had a good game. So, look, pass marks, it's not often we can say it, so let's give pass marks to them all. So we'll make it continue. But listen, guys.
No, I would agree with that.
We are we're sitting here raving about Hatate, raving about O'Reilly. But sorry for dampening the mood, but there's a possibility these 2 guys could be away.
I could be suicidal to sell both of them, no, Jed, in the one window.
I hope so, mate. I hope so. But look,
I wouldn't put it past this board to allow that to happen.
Yes.
I reckon if they sold Matt O'Reilly, they would just look to Bernardo and say that's your replacement, deal with it, and maybe go out and get another project, but not a serious replacement for Matt O'Reilly. I think that replacement, if Matt O'Reilly left, is already in the door. If Hatate was to leave, whilst Matt O'Reilly stays, I think it would just be ignored that he's gone. I think it would just be get on with it. If both of them were to leave, I think we definitely would sign somebody else. But again, the quality would be up for debate, because I'd never see the quality coming in really under this iteration of a board and how it's set up. We set in names and set in positions, shall we say. But keep it on the game. Let's not focus on that.
You're not going to get an O'Reilly replacement, are you? Because if we're
because of
$5 million, you've got to, unfortunately, you're going to have to get a guy that you hope develops into an O'Reilly.
Exactly, because if somebody was ready to fill in exactly as Matt O'Reilly plays, people would be buying him instead of Matt O'Reilly. If you could get him cheaper for that. I get that, but at the same time, what I mean more so is Matt O'Reilly comes in as a certain caliber of player. Yes, was it 1.5 million, and it looked like a good bit of business so far. And he has developed and grown into the team, but we can't keep going back to that same start.
I'm hoping it works.
We need to go sign Matt. The level of player Matt O'Reilly was last summer. We need to go sign that. He's ready to go in. That or go and get an older head. Now, I'm not going to advocate that we spend silly money, but you look at an older head who's maybe 31, 32, who isn't going to be getting the games for the big clubs, but might demand 40,000 offers, but they're going to bring the actual experience to the club. Who that is, I don't know. I'm not paid as a scout to go pigeonhole that, and I'm sure if I turned around and says, Christian Eriksen, somebody will tell me, don't be ridiculous, he wants 125 grand. Of course he does, so he's not going to be that guy, but somebody who's paid good money to do this can go find that player out, not me. But back to the game, I don't want to focus on the transfer aspects too much, because we kind of cover that quite often on here, and we all know where, especially myself, where we rely on the lack of transfer dealings. I want to talk about Kyogo more than anything else, though. The only striker in the club just now. Last season, he was, I don't know if you say off the boil, unfavoured as such, preferred different type of player, kind of like Jack Marcus would probably be more of a Rodgers type player than Kyogo is, and obviously we brought in Adam Ida to cover for that. But Kyogo is what we've got just now. He's the only striker we've got. and I think he's started the preseason again very, very well. And I think he started yesterday exceedingly well. He's had a couple of opportunities, a couple of shots. His first one was early on where might be Matt O'Reilly lays it through to him from the right-hand side a little bit, passes diagonally into the central. He gets the beating of the Killie defender. There's a little clip, but he runs it off, and then he gets his bit of kind of jabs shot that kind of goes off the keeper, and he kind of tumbles over the top of the keeper as well. And it's a kind of first incident of seeing Kyogo kind of not on the shoulder of the defensive line, but looking to make that run to split the line, which is what we kind of love to see Kyogo do. Another point I saw Kyogo doing, as I said, with Tony Ralston's goal, he's on the edge of the 18-yard box. He's getting that shot off, but all the other players are making that similar move that Kyogo loves to do himself of following up for the rebounds. I think the game plan is looking good for him. But the main points also we want to talk about with Kyogo is the two offside incidents. Firstly was his goal, which he brings down beautifully. Easy shot for him for 20-odd yards out, and he beats the goalkeeper. Ruled offside. Apparently your arm can now be an offside element to the game. Guys, before we move on to the penalty claim, do you agree with that being an offside?
I don't agree with it being your hand being off or your arm being offside, but I know offside isn't black and white because somebody's still got to draw the lines. But I'm wanting to trust the technology, shall we say, Anthony?
That's an interesting way to put it. I'm sure if we look into that technology, it's not very good, especially if you look at the Motherwell game from the first season that was introduced, where we had the camera angle from about 200
Something
yards
as a
back.
club we really should have, I think, asked more questions about.
That
I've asked a lot more questions regarding why a camera wasn't working, then suddenly or not was on the manager. Well, why?
Well, exactly. And I'll be quickly on this one. I remember that happening, and the story was told that basically that camera was focused on the dugout, so it wasn't being used for that. Keep in mind, and this is what we spoke about off camera before we went on air, we're paying the most money for this. And as it's structured, all the clubs in the top division pay to have, I think it's 6 cameras dedicated to VAR. So all 6 of those cameras should be fully 100% operational on VAR. Any other cameras on the ground can do whatever the hell they want. The TV operators can go between whatever ones they want. I don't care what ones they go through, but they shouldn't be taking a VAR camera that we're specifically paying for its technology to do what happened at Motherwell. But I did find it weirdly interesting, and maybe this is the fault that we only have 6 cameras. I think it would be 2 on each side and 1 behind each goal. The angle of that was ridiculous. Again, seeing that angle from so far behind, well, so far in front, that actually looks really hard to call it. Even because we don't have the automated thing, when somebody's drawn the lines, that still looks awkward to try and guess it, I think. Jed, for the offside goal itself, what was your opinion?
Straight away, when I seen the replay, I thought it's offside. So I wasn't complaining about it too much, because I personally, when I seen it, I thought it was offside. When you went back to when you were speaking about the Motherwell game, just a wee side note, that would have been goal of the season if that goal had. So it would have. But listen, it's there. We've got to deal with it. We're not really complaining about it because we've won the game convincingly. My concern is if it was 0-0, yes, myself and that would be complaining. But I personally thought it was offside.
Fair enough. I think as you see the lines being drawn, it shows his arm being offside. My two dubious natures of it is, why is your arm being used as an offside point? Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm sure in the Euros that was even used as you can't use your arm, you can't use a bit of the body that you can't score with. So you can't be offside from it. But I could be wrong there. And the lines, when you zoom in and you see them, again, it's human nature, this, because we're not using the semi-automated stuff. There's still margin of error if you can get, especially when the camera angle's at that odd angle. You still got that margin of error that the lines might not be exactly where they need to be. And there's only so much you can do, obviously, in so little time. at the times when you're utilising the technology, but I think we're very close. But that's one of these things back in the day before VAR and all this shit, the benefit to the attacker, he probably would have got that goal given. He's second in
a mile offside when he scored.
By the time he brought the ball down. But his second opportunity was the penalty shout, which the commentary, when I was listening to it, they had stated that VAR had not even bothered to look at the incident because they didn't feel it was an obvious error. And the offside component of that argument, even though I think that would have still been dubious, that wasn't even taken into consideration when it comes to the penalty claim. So the penalty claim itself from Kyogo is deemed a correct call by the referee on the pitch, I think is how they would term it. Do we agree with that, Jed, Franny? When you see Kyogo go through on goal and the keeper basically takes none of the ball and clatters Kyogo to the ground, when Kyogo probably, if he's not clattered, would take an extra 2-3 steps and put that ball in the back of the net. Do you think it was a correct call or not, Jed?
Every time I look at it, I change my mind. Seriously, I think it's not. It's no. There's nothing the keeper can do. And then other angles, you think he's wiped him out. But it's look, we've had goals given, we've had decisions given against us like that. So I just hope we just need a bit of clarity. Like you say, it's a bit strange because straight away I said it won't matter anyway because he's offside. But then when they made the decision, it wasn't as if it was. Did he put his hand up to say it was offside, or was it not? It's a by kick.
No, I just gave them.
No, I think it's just
decision. So they didn't actually look at the offside then.
So they gave a by kick. That's
they gave a by kick. The offside part of it wasn't even discussed. So this happened also last year. I think it was a few times where an incident happens where it's a penalty claim. But if you can go further back in the play to see an offside, then that negates, because that would have happened early in the play, that negates the penalty claim. They never even got to that point. They just looked at the incident and said, nah, it doesn't need a review. So the fact that they said that it doesn't need a review for the challenge for the foul, that cancelled everything else out. They just moved on with the game, which I found a bit bizarre in itself. Because surely that is the one of, was it the 4 incidents that VAR was there as penalty claims? It should have been looked at, surely. Or at least stopped to find out if the offside component was in play or not. But hey ho. Right, moving slightly on from...
Even the brains of Sky, Chris Boyd said it was a penalty. Is that correct?
It was similar to you, Jed, where he was like, I think it was a penalty, he says, but I could understand an argument for it not, because what can the keeper do in that situation? The keeper can go nowhere. But it was like, it's got to be a penalty. As much as the keeper can't go anywhere and there's always got to clatter him, there's not really much you can do. And that's kind of where I'm at. It's not that it's been harsh, the keeper can't go anywhere. But for me, it's a Stonewall penalty. But equally, I think he might have been offside, so it's one of them. Is it a bit of a moot point there?
It probably is, because if you go back and it is offside, then it is a moot point. But the argument, I think, from a Celtic point of view is that it wasn't even looked at. To get to that point, to say it is a mute, it's just a sheer ignoring the incident.
It just seems to madness. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's mental. Moving then slightly on from the game, I believe, without dwelling too heavily on the ins and outs of transfers, overall as a team, how do we feel, guys? Franny, we'll go with you first in this. How do you feel we are set up as a team just now in the shape that we are, players that are in the club right now, to continue from today, well, from yesterday into the rest of the season? Do you have confidence, do you have hope in the squad that we have, let alone what else might happen?
Well, domestically, we have enough to an extent. We need another striker even domestically. You can't run with one striker all season unless, and I'm not buying this argument, Maeda's got to be that guy, or Mikey Johnson. I think Rodgers' comments, whether there's truth in it or not, regarding Rocco Vata, He said he wanted Rocco Vatti to be the third choice. So for me, I think he wants Ida in, and then it'll either be somebody through the ranks. It might be the young boy Turley, that he looks to be the third choice striker, or he might try and bring a young project guy in to be that. So for me, the argument for Johnson to put forward Mikey Johnston in my head is that another choice up front is just not there, because otherwise Brendan Rodgers would have used that, wouldn't have said what he said about Vata. So you either believe what he said about Vata, or you think he was talking shit just as lip service to say he tried to keep him. So I think domestically, definitely need another striker and a left back domestically. That would cover us, I think, because as much as I agree we should upgrade in Scales, I think in the league and cups and that he'll be fine. I think the team is, if it stayed as, would be fine if he addressed day two positions. But the new Champions League format, of what I understand it, I'm not saying it's easier to get into the knockout phases, but there is a better chance, obviously, because you've got the more games you can fall into a playoff sort of a format to get. I think it would be another couple of games to maybe then progress into the knockout stages. So we need to go and get, for me, we need a left back, centre half, obviously a striker. The Matt Riley situation, it just depends on him. If you can, personally, I would knock back, like Wally put in the chat, I would knock back all offers for Matt Riley, providing you know he's going to always turn that in and keep out of him, because I just think it's now impossible in the markets we deal with to try and replace him at that calibre. I do think in an ideal world get a defensive midfielder in as well, but that's a lot of. I say it's a lot. It's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, and if we could get a winger, I would argue on the right hand side, because I think Maeda for me has always got to be that guy. Palmer, he could have a good. His numbers for me, as much as I think he's frustrating as hell, I don't think his numbers last season can be ignored. He's got mad numbers for a winger, for a guy that never played a lot of the second half of the season. So I think we're definitely four guys for me. We need to have a serious crack at Europe now. We're not going to win the Champions League, but just show a bit of ambition. Show guys like Jed who buy season tickets year on year. We all buy the kits and things like that. They're all quick asking for money. I just didn't understand the stockpiling. Like what is the benefit in sitting in all this cash? Now I'm not expecting to spend 100 million. But if you can go and spend 35, 40 million on maybe 5, 6 guys, it's probably averaging about 5 to sort of £8 million a player. Yes, that doesn't guarantee you success at the level of players, but it reduces the risk, and I think it then shows the fans a wee bit of ambition. So I want them to have a real go at the Champions League to try and progress out this group stage, because you do that wee bit of speculating to accumulate, maybe spend a wee bit extra with the risk that you might not get out the Champions League group, but if you do, there's more riches there than equally you maybe need to spend this money to guarantee you win the league, and then you've got these guys in ready because it's qualifiers again next season, and to try and get away for qualifiers, you really do need to try and have a go at the Champions League, because we've not got the cushion of falling into the Europa League to try and have a run at that. So for me to try and guarantee Champions League football every time you win the league, we really need to have a go at the Champions League to get out this new format and get into like the knockout phases to try and get the coefficient points back up. But for me, definitely 4 players I would be looking for McGinty, but in an ideal world I'd want a winger into.
No, I think we can all probably agree with most of that. I feel like with the new Champions League format, as you were saying, it almost feels like it's an easier chance to get through to the next round because of the way it is, although I feel like I can see Jed shaking his head.
I might be just trying to understand it totally.
I think you're right in how you see it, but I think we're going to get a rude awakening and a big slap on the face when we realise it's kind of like Scotland in the Euros. yeah, you could get the best third place team, but you still need to do some actual work. And there's still a whole other bunch of clubs and teams want to do the exact same thing. And I think where we have been in quite a while in the Champions League is nowhere near that level to say that you're the third best kind of group. We are in that relegation kind of aspect of the Champions League. I think was it the bottom 8 go out sort of thing, but then the top 24 go through, whatever the fuck it is. I think we are in that bottom 8, and I think it's going to be a big ask for the players that we currently have at the squad to be able to step up to that level, not just in actual caliber and ability, but with the depth that we have for the domestic scene and Europe, especially when it's an extra couple of games there, to be able to step up and actually get a couple of wins, because I think you're going to need at least 2 wins, that kind of 6-point mark to take yourself out of that relegation zone, because we usually sit around 1, 2, 3 points in the Champions League, and I don't see how playing an extra 2 games is going to really give us a better chance. I think it's just going to be more games for more teams to take more points, and I think I kind of read the poor stay poor and the rich gets richer. I think the rest of them it's more points for the rest of them to get, and more games for us to stumble our way through almost. So when it comes to the signings and how we sit, I think I agree with yourself, and the chat is saying the same thing. Domestically, we're probably quite fine. Definitely need the second striker, be that Adam Ida or whoever else we may turn a face to. I definitely obviously a left back. But after that, I think the core of the squad is probably fine to see us through for at least a double this season. But playing the European competitions as well with Champions League, I think we're severely lacking, and that aspect might even take its toll on the squad that we have currently just now as it stands. Jed, to bring yourself into it as well, how do you feel the squad sits as it stands today going into the rest of the season domestically and for European football?
Right, well, here comes the negativity. Right, guys, let's be honest. Assuming Matt O'Reilly was still here, we've not sold any of the players that were started on Sunday. We still need 6 players, in my opinion. We need a left back, right back. We need a left-sided centre half. We need 2 strikers. We need potentially another winger, or as Franny mentioned earlier, a more defensive midfielder, especially for Europe. Because, guys, let's be honest, if Scales got injured tomorrow, Scales gets slated. Their defence is threadbare at the moment because Uroki doesn't, he's not going to get. Stephen Welsh is not the answer. So, and this is still for even domestic football, never mind European football. We are 6 players short. We're going to get rid of a lot of players, the fringe players. There are going to be a lot of players getting put out. We need to get our finger out, guys. We need to get our finger out. Now, if we sell some of our top players, O'Reilly, for example, so if we get, say, 30 million, you can guarantee we will not spend that 30 million. Between O'Reilly and all of the figures are right, 34 million, assuming we got 30 million for O'Reilly and 4 million we got for O, we ain't going to spend that. We'd be lucky to spend 20, 25 million. We've never done it. Well, sorry, the last time was Martin O'Reilly. We signed 3 players, John Hartson, Chris Sutton and Neil Lennon, 6 million each. We've spent £6 million, is it twice since then?
Twice then. We'd have had Julian at 7 and Edward at 9. Can't think anybody else.
We paid 6.5, 7 for Carvick's and Jotmind.
But Anthony, this is 20 odd years ago. We were spending £6 million on players. We just don't do that now. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope I'm proved wrong. But we need 6 players, just even for domestic football, never mind European football, because we have not got the quality and depth that we all think we've got.
I think you're again, I think you're absolutely right there as well, Jade. I think the squad as we stand, I think is more than good enough for domestic football and getting a double.
But
But
what's
you're very
what
right.
are there any injuries? Major injuries?
That's what I was going to say. You're very much correct and right. The depth in it is lacking because you see, we're counting on Liam Scales at this point. If he gets injured, what do we have? It's a scary moment.
Stephen Welsh was on the bench. That was I don't know if Naroff was recovered for his injury he picked up in pre-season.
No idea. But
it's the first game.
We're seeing Liam Scales gets injured. Let's be real. Carter Vickers is more likely to get injured, and we know how bad that was last season when he did. So we know how this could be.
So we're potentially we're looking at 2 centre backs to try and get.
Yeah, but the way this club operates, I think you're going to need to get rid of at least 3 or 4 before you see 2 coming in. There's too many, but this is what we do all the time. Same with central midfield. If you look at the likes of McCarthy and Quan and Holm and Kelly, that's your depth beyond Bernardo, McGregor, Hattati, and O'Reilly. But it's massive because you've got those 3 / Bernardo at the top, and then the drop off is way down here. It's fringe players or it's first team starters. There's nothing in the between to try and help pull them up or build on or anything. The depth is horrible at the club just now.
But Anthony got to mind as well when we go into Europe. For the homegrown players, Welsh is going to be named in the squad. Ralston's going to be named in the squad. I do think Micah Johnson might get sold, but so we need like I say, it was brilliant yesterday, but come on, we have never been in a better position what we're financially to move on. Remember, we're sitting. I'm one of these mugs. I mean, my season ticket now, along with all the other guys, £618. I've just had word in the day. My ticket for the Hibs game a week on Sunday, and the cup's going to be £25. We used to get European games. We're getting nothing now. It's take. We can't keep doing it. We can keep doing it as long as we see them returning the goodwill that we're giving to the club. They're giving the supporters goodwill by going out and spending the money. Now, as Franny says, we don't expect them to go and spend 60, 70 million pounds. No, we're not. That's not our model. But we still should be going out and spending it 30 million over this transfer window. At least 30 million. But let's hand in heart, guys, we ain't going to do it.
No, I know we won't. And I put it in another group chat that I'm in, and I think I might have said to you guys at some point in passing as well. I'm at the stage when it comes to, and I'm on a segment of this podcast I didn't overly want to touch on tonight to get too negative, but I fully back you and agree with you, Jed. But I'm at the point with the club, with the board and the people who run the club, that I want to see them gone so far to fuck. I didn't want them anywhere near the club anymore. I don't care how much they want to say they're big Celtic fans as well. I think they're holding the club back to be kind of nice to them. And I'm at the point where I generally wouldn't mind a mad American franchise coming in and saying, look, maybe not the Red Bulls of the world or the City Group kind of level, but see a franchise that a group of people that have a hand in baseball, basketball, whatever it is, they just come over and operate as like a fucking sports club. Come in and just understand what football is, come in and run as like a modern day sports club where we actually set out with a little bit of ambition. Because as you said there, Jed, we could easily spend 35 million in one season purely on players coming in without caring about what money comes in on the reverse. We could literally spend 35 million and not blink an eye at it. The flip on it that some people argue is always, well, you have to pay those wages, and if you're going to spend 6, 7, 8, 9 million pound on one player, then they might start demanding silly money. It's not as bad as it looks. I'm sick of that argument. So a lot of people come in and you spend 8 million, 10 million on one player, they're going to ask for 60,000. They don't. The football wages across the whole of Europe are not that crazy. Yes, you look at the EPL, and yes, you look at your Atletico Madrid, your Real Madrid, your Juventus, your Romas, your Bayern Munich, and your Dortmund. Yes, they spend silly money, but see if you start looking at your Villarreals and your Real Betis, you start looking at your Lyons and your European caliber in these top leagues, and then also look at the whole Scandinavia, look at all of the Dutch leagues and the Belgian league. None of them are outspending us wages-wise by any drastic amount. We could easily spend that 35 million on 4 or 5 players and pay them 35 to 40 grand if that's what they deserve to be paid, and have that becoming our top earners for a core group of players that actually is of sufficient quality to take us up a level. And a lot of people will say, oh, you pay them more money.
If we get through to the next stage of the Champions League, we recoup the vast majority of that
all
money.
That, yeah.
So
you get all that back through getting through to the next stage, or a couple of wins in the Champions League, you get the couple of million for that. But the best thing of it is, see, after 2-3 years of having all these players, I mean, you do it one big season like now, you spend that money chunk, a big chunk of it now. Next season, you only have to spend maybe 15-20 million, couple of players, and it builds on itself. But see, when it comes 2 or 3 years down the line, when we look to sell a couple of these players off, because they've had better experiences in the Champions League and they've played with better quality players, they automatically start to become better players, and thus they become worth more money. So the sell-on that we get from them stops being in this 15 to 20 million and realistically gets up to the Matarelli numbers of 30 million, 35 million. And, it's just how you snowballs and the ambition grows. And for me, I mean, I'm no business model man myself. I don't know anything of how to actually implement that. That's just an idea in my head that I like to see us go down. But if you can get a proper group of people to come in and run the club properly, like a proper sports club, then I'm all right for a bunch of Americans to come in, if that has to be the case of it is, to actually run us that way, to actually have that little bit of ambition to push us forward, rather than this constant drab kind of looking across the city and saying, well, we're better than them, we've got the league, we've done what we need as a bare minimum, and the Champions League money is just a Brucey bonus prize. Whereas we need to start looking at the Champions League money thinking, how can we maximise that more? How can we get more of that competition? Because we've totally maximised what we could get out of Scottish football.
But Anthony, if you think back a couple of seasons ago, Peter Lowell has already stated they have to have money put aside for the scenario where we don't qualify for the Champions League. So that straight away, their glass is half empty, not half full. Do you know what I mean? They have to push the boat out a wee bit, but by pushing the boat out, they can afford to push the boat out. We are not going to put ourselves in any financial trouble by doing that. You do not want a scenario again where when Ange came in, it was like a complete rebuild. If we get this right, it's just like when Alex Ferguson was at his pomp at Man United. It's just keeping things ticking over, refreshing a few players and everything like that. But we need to get that down. We can't go trying to rebuild every couple of 2 or 3 years. We need to just have things put in place where it's if one player goes, we've got another player coming in. Just keep it tidy, keep it sweet. We have the potential to do that, but unfortunately, I think there's too many people on the board that don't have that same vision as the fans and the Terracins and the fans all over the world.
No, I agree with that.
So moving on, as I said, I don't want to dwell on this too much on tonight. I know we've done a couple of the cool season there when we've been back and we've kind of laboured on about it. I think 1 week we got labelled as Moaning Monday Club. So I'm trying to shake that tag a little bit. Looking forward. I know the guys come Wednesday and Friday will look more into next weekend's game itself, but there's no harm in us taking a little preview and looking a bit further ahead. The next game is in 6 days. It's a 12:30 kickoff and it's an away game to Hibs. Based off of the first game, again, let's pretend we don't get anybody else signed because that's most likely going to be the case that we don't sign anybody this week. How are we feeling for the weekend game coming up against Hibs? Comfortable win, Farney?
I would say so. When Hibs obviously didn't finish the season great last year, I know David Gray came in and steadied the ship, but he's not got off to a great start. I think they got battered. Was it 3-0 that St Mirren beat them? So I would say, although it's not been a happy hunting ground for Brendan Rodgers going to Easter Road, I would be pretty confident if both teams going in as the status quo, if you like. I'd be more than confident in picking up the points come Sunday.
And yourself, Jed, how are you feeling come the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Rodgers has not had a great winning record at Easter Road. I mean, we won last season. The game at Ida scored the 2 goals. I'm still confident to go in. Even if I have to go, like I say, with the same starting 11 that we had yesterday, Hibs, their fans will demand a big improvement on yesterday's game, and also David Gray is under immense pressure because I can't mind the guy's name. It's the owner of Bournemouth who's got a major share in Hibs now.
Oh,
He doesn't even want David Gray's manager, so his job's on a sugarly nail. But let's just hope they defend like they did yesterday against St Mirren. But I'm still confident we'll go and we'll win. I think what I can really see, what I really noticed yesterday, they are up for it big time. The players are up for it. And for the first game of the season, to see that intensity and the players trying to win, still going for the 95th minute, that all bears well moving into Sunday's game. I just wish it was before then. I know I can't. I know still got days to wait, but look, it is what it is at the moment. So we'll deal with it. But yeah, I'm confident for Sunday.
No, I would agree with you. When it comes to, like you see, the intensity, how we started, I think the team will continue that through to Sunday. And I think the win is, I wouldn't say give me no games to give me, but I think the win we should be confident of. And I think the players are in a good place, assuming nobody gets injured during the week or anything like that. I think we should go in that game looking to get, again, another 2-3 goal lead.
By the way, Kyogo, all the players will be told in training, nobody tackle him. Nobody get near him. Don't even
rest him.
I didn't think of it.
How bad it is. I've got one striker at the moment. But wrap that guy and caught Mool, bubble wrap, everything.
I just want to bring this point just before we wrap it up tonight, guys. It's coming up for 58 minutes, so about that hour mark from Red Scotland. Just glad there's realism on here and not happy clapping. We're all feeling the same. That for me is why I do the podcast. I know we all talk about it and we get a wee bit kind of, I wouldn't say romantic about it, but we've tried to get a little bit more kind of blokey about it and kind of real talk sort of thing. That's why I do this though. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that any of us are in the know about anything to do with it. We are literally just fellow fans ourselves. And there is a few podcasts out there that do things in a way to try and get extra views or whatever it is they're trying to do and build their way through the setup of podcasts. Well, fair play to them. I'm not going to name any names. No disrespect to anyone. For me, it literally is just, this is an event for me at times. My only reason for pulling it back a little bit tonight is just because it's the first game of the season. We can't be always doom and gloom. I know I can come across that way sometimes.
Guys,
so, Red, thank you for that. And yeah, we do constantly try and keep it real.
We put up the comments that we put up in our chats. We're both here.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised I'm allowed on here.
We our anger on there as well, but we certainly can't do it. And listen, I've said in this podcast before as well. Thank God podcast weren't about when it was Lou Macari as manager. I was going, because then that would be a different level of moaning.
So, it would indeed.
So I've been at the low and I'm enjoying the high at the moment. Even though I'm still moaning. That is, but like I say, just go back in time, have a podcast with Wayne Biggins and that playing for us.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine how much change for Celts would have probably been a lot sooner, a lot quicker? Would it happen? Things would be a lot different. How things would have panned out. Anyway, for the first game of the season, guys, it's been a pleasure talking about it. Franny, you had a good night so far?
That was good. Apologies for the typical first time back in a hotel doing the podcast, and of course Wi-Fi issues. But we got it sorted.
FYI, 5G all the way for you next time. Yeah. Don't even bother with the Wi-Fi. Jed, good to have you on again. It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's a quick show tonight because I'm away early in the morning. I'm away up north tomorrow, so I'm glad it's a quick. If our colleague from across the water, if he was chairing the podcast tonight, it would be going on for hours. So Stephen, no disrespect, but I'm nowhere near here tonight.
I know the guys on our side and the viewers as well. I know you all love the 2 hour, 3 hour effort on a Friday night, and God love you for sticking that out. But absolutely no chance of man doing that on a Monday night. It's going to be an hour. It's going to be an hour and a half, and we're going to love every minute of it. Guys, thank you for being here. Let's do the pretend outro, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers now.